Buyer's Remorse.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Justin.
I'm Darren.
On Buyer's Remorse, we find games that are unplayed in each other's libraries and force them to play them for 1 hour, give them a try to see if they are a wonderful buyer's confirmation or a dreaded buyer's remorse. So, game today. What did I choose for you?
Bonbon.
Now, this is a very interesting one. I played this one a couple years ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is one that my nephew wanted me to try, and so I did play it, and I found it very interesting. So I'm not sure exactly how you feel about it. Normally, in Buyer's Remorse, we don't really worry about spoiler warnings because we only play a game for an hour, but because this game is under an hour, I think we're going to be discussing the whole game. So if you want to experience Bonbon in all its glory with no preconceived notions, without knowing what's going to happen, here is your spoiler warning.
Insert sound of rats.
You could, actually. So, tell us about Bonbon.
All right. Well, I'm surprised. I didn't know that you had already played this. I thought you just picked it out of the itch racial equality bundle at random for me.
It was not at random, but the fact that you had the bundle meant, now I can actually have you play it rather than having you buy it on Steam.
Because it is, to be honest, what I will say is the base price is pretty overpriced for what it is. It's $3, and it took me 40 minutes to finish it, maybe. So, definitely overpriced. But seeing as I got it in that super mega ultra bundle,
got it for pennies.
I probably got it for fractions of pennies, man. There's like 1,700 games in that for $5. But yeah, I wasn't off to a good start with it. Like, as soon as, I don't know if the Steam setup had the same problem when you played it on Steam, but when I played this, like downloading the files and doing it manually, I installed it, the game wouldn't run, it said the files were missing, and I uninstalled it, and then reinstalled it again, and then it got to the loading screen, but then it crashed, and then I looked online, and trying to find a fix for it, and they did have some things. I was like, I'm just going to try and uninstall it again. I uninstalled it, and then I reinstalled it again, and hey, presto, it just magically started working. I don't know. I've got no idea. It was just pure luck. But yeah, so I had no idea what's going on. So whatever video is playing right now, this is my actual playthrough of the game, the original first attempt right here. So the game, is full of bugs. Was the Steam version full of bugs?
Probably.
Yeah.
But it wasn't full of bugs to get it started. It
worked
no
on
problem.
Steam. Yeah. One thing I found was that I found it difficult to control. There was bits where, the cursor would, go off the screen, and so I would click, and then it would, put me onto the desktop again, and it was a bit of a pain to control.
It wasn't quite that bad, but I do remember the mechanics being a bit awful.
Yeah. The thing is,
especially there's a particular part in the game in particular that I remember, but we haven't got to that yet.
Yeah. I don't need my experiences with games to be polished AAA experiences. It's like,
I think especially if you're coming into something like this where it's indie and it's low budget and few people working on it.
Yeah. But the thing is, as soon as I booted it up, it was like a nostalgia bomb just detonating in my brain, because it was like, this is my house. This is my house when I was 3 years old. And it's set in the UK. That house, a wall. I had to look it up because I was like, yeah, that wall. It's like, and I tried to remember what it was called. I had no idea. It's pebble dashed. I learned a lot about pebble dashing and stucco or however you pronounce it. But it's like a wall where they would break up bits of quartz and seashells, and then they would just spray the side of the house. It was this really rough textured thing. And supposedly it's called rough. They also call it rough casting. It's so unpopular today in the UK, except for Scotland, of course, where it's still very popular. But it's so unpopular in other places in the UK that if you have a rough casted house, you can expect to deduct 5% from your if you're going to sell your house. So
because whoever buys it is going to immediately want to fix it.
Get rid of it, yeah. So basically, you start off as a toddler in this back garden of this very 1980s UK house. Your mum calls you and she tells you to come inside for dinner. At this point, I kind of was wandering around the back garden, and then I look up the driveway, and there's this gigantic rat standing there.
Hello, Bonbon.
Yeah, hello, Bonbon. But I didn't know that was Bonbon. I thought that was my mum. I thought I was in a family of rats.
There's a lot of confusion about that stuff, especially early on. Yeah.
Right, because I was like, oh, that's my mum. It wasn't really menacing. She had red eyes, but mice have red eyes. Or rats have red eyes too. So I wasn't freaked out by it. And then the mum's like, okay, you got to bring your balls back in the house. This part was terrible, man. Like picking up the balls and walking with them.
Remember when I said there was a part I remember about the mechanics being bad? This should be the easiest mission in the world, and it took me forever.
It took me such a long time.
I suspect that this is why my nephew wanted me to play it, because he wanted to watch me suffer through this section. But there are some very interesting things that come up later, and just the game as a whole I do think is very interesting. But yes, this was a nightmare of a level. I don't remember why, though. Like, is it difficult to pick up the balls? Do you not even pick them up? Or are you just kicking them around? I can't remember, but I just remember going, why is this taking so long? This should be a 2-second mission.
Yeah, because basically you got to pick up 4 balls, and I've even put it right down here, like, yeah, easy, right? But because you're a toddler, you can't walk and hold something at the same time. So it's like you can walk, and then you can take like maybe 10 steps, then you either fall over or you drop the ball and it goes rolling away.
That's right. But at the same time, I appreciate that. I think that that's very clever. It's just not fun as a game mechanic.
Yeah. One thing that I did find was that if you throw the ball, you can launch that sucker and you can like just ping it. And they've actually set up a bunch of wooden planks at the end of the kind of patio part where you can just roll the ball all the way down to the door. Because I think he realized like, oh man, this carrying mechanic sucks. Like I'll put something at the end so they can just launch the balls down here.
Well, and also, I mean, as a toddler, you definitely have a career in sports if you could throw like this.
But, so basically you pick up 3 balls and then you're looking around for the 4th ball and then you hear this crash and it's basically Bonbon has come through the kind of metal gate of the driveway and he kind of drops the ball and it goes rolling like to the other corner of the garden, so you got to go and get that. And again, I was just like, oh, Mum's just giving me my ball. You know, it's just like, that's it. I was like, oh, this is a bit weird, but I don't feel scared about anything yet. But yeah, so you get the 4th ball, you throw it inside. One thing that I thought was weird, though, is when you pick up something, you've got a bunch of options. One of them is to rotate the item, which is very, very clumsy on keyboard and mouse because you have to hold down R and then you have to use WASD to rotate the ball around. So it's all in your left hand. You can't pick it up with something in your right. You can't right click it with a mouse and then rotate it with your left hand. It's all done with your left hand, which is just weird. And the other option is to talk to the item. Every item has a name. So the balls are like, Mr. Apple is the green ball and Mr. Plum is the purple ball. And when you talk to them, it's like this weird, distorted, like creepy voice that comes out of you. So again, I'm like, is this a horror game or am I part of the horror? You know, I was really confused. So yeah.
That's the tagline of Bonbon. I was really confused.
And then, so it goes all kind of weird static and black and red static, garbled mess. It's a bit of a nightmare. So anyway, you go inside, something awesome happens inside the house. I love stuff like this. And that is, I got to watch TV inside a game. And whenever there's a TV on inside a game, I'll watch it until it loops. And I might even watch it twice, just to make sure that it's the same loop. I didn't miss anything. Because watching that, did you watch the TV, like all of it, when you played it, or do you not remember?
I don't remember. It's been years.
Okay, right. So the TV comes on, you're in your house, carpet straight out of the 80s. I probably had the same carpet as well.
But you're still a toddler, right? So everything looks massive to you.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the things that just really wowed me, is how consistent and how I felt kind of accurate they were with what you would actually be seeing from the viewpoint of the toddler.
That's what it was. It reminded me of this other game called Among the Sleep.
Yeah, I've started it, but I've not finished
Right.
it. Yeah.
Where it's got the same mechanic thing where if you stand up and walk, you'll eventually fall over, but you can crawl on your hands and knees. Everything is massive. So you can create stairs by pulling out drawers in the kitchen to get up onto the counter and stuff like that. Yeah, I got that feeling from this too. But yeah, the TV is like, it's not one of these things where it's just like showing you images and then it loops after every 10 seconds. There's like 5 whole minutes of television. And maybe for you, it wouldn't have been like such a nostalgia trip. But for me, watching it, it's like, oh, they have real adverts. Like anyone who's from the UK who's watching it right now on, if there's the video of this right now, the All-Brand ad, the TDK blank VHS tapes ad. Of course, you'll remember, you'll know the He-Man ads for the He-Man toys and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, but were they different?
No, they were real. They're like real.
No, but
ads.
I'm saying, were the ads different?
No, they were just probably just pulled straight from YouTube. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was in the UK. Sometimes they have different commercials for the same thing than we would have in the US.
Oh, right. I've got no idea then. Yeah. But they were.
But I definitely would have recognized He-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I would have recognized TDK as well. Like, they were very popular.
I wonder if you had the
VHS.
same ad then. We had an ad, and I don't know why they chose to go with this, but it was always this guy, and he was like a full skeleton. And he would, like, put the tapes into the thing and record, and the whole tagline was, re-record, not fade away. And it was like, it was a song. And that song is in everybody's mind. Like, if you say that to anyone from the UK, they'll know exactly. If you say, re-record, not fade away, they'll be like, oh man, I remember that. The skeleton with the VHS. Like, yeah. And the All-Brand ad, that was so popular. Just for the jingle, was just like stuck in your head. But yeah, there's like a whole cartoon. It's a really creepy cartoon, actually, about this like soldier who's only got one leg. He's kind of ridiculed by the other soldiers for, only having one leg, but he saves a woman who then, like, in turn saves him in the end by, like, jumping in front of a bullet, and then they both just get picked up and thrown into a fire. It's a really happy ending. Yeah, anyway, I loved this television part, and I watched it twice. I put here, as I wrote down, it really warmed my nostalgia nuggets. Don't know what that means, but okay. Anyway, Mum comes, says, tidy up your toys now. So there's another fetch quest where the rat is now standing in the doorway, and now he's, again, I thought it was just my mum, like, just, like, supervising me. Pick up the little dolls, you got to put them in the box. Again, I don't know why they chose to go with the number 4. Like, usually it's like, find 3 of this, but this time it's like, find 4. Oh, okay, 1 extra.
Maybe it's just because of that, because everybody else does 3, so they said, we'll do 4.
We're going to be different. Yeah, so you find 4 dolls, 4 cubes, like 4 blocks, whatever. Throw them in there, and then it's like, it's your birthday. And so you get a cake. This is where I started to realize, like, oh, okay, this is the horror part. Because I get my birthday cake, and then I'm sat at this table with this rat, and I realize it's not my mum because he's just got his hand out. He's like, doesn't say anything, but he's like, give me cake, basically. And so you can interact with the cake and very clumsily, like, put it onto his hand, and then he just like just shoves it in his mouth, wolfs it down, and then he's like, more cake, hands out again. And then you're feeding him all of your birthday cake until eventually he's just like pounding on the table. That's when Chloe was actually standing right next to me. I was like, she's like, what are you playing? I'm like, I don't know. It's like this weird game. It's supposed to be a horror game, but it's not really that scary, but it's getting a bit creepy now. And then as soon as he just starts pounding on the table and like throwing out his hand, Chloe's just like, I'm out of here. Yeah, so then eventually he just like goes in, like eats the whole cake himself, and then it's bedtime. Hang on, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so bedtime. Do you remember the bedtime story? No. So Dad reads you a story, and it's not really the kind of story that a little kid should be listening to. Basically, it's about a brother and a sister living with their family. The father is kind of abusive towards them. He beats them and he cries when he's doing it. He locks them in a basement of the mill. Kids meet a rat. They cut a deal with the rat. Like, you know, if you help us escape. Their dream is to escape to become gypsies. That's like the best that they can hope for in life. And so the rat makes a deal. It's like, I won't get both of you to escape, but you got to let me marry your sister. Well, and I'll let the boy escape. It's just so dark, man. It's such a dark story. And so they do everything for this rat. But the sister dies, like it says, the dad's reading all this to the son, or the daughter, whoever the protagonist is in this story. And he's just like, and so she died, giving birth to a litter of 13 beautiful rats. And the boy escaped and lived the rest of his life as a beggar on the street. The end. Sweet dreams, son. It's like, what? And then you wake up in the middle of the night in this kind of weird dream. Everything's going like, whoa, and like warping in and out. And the rat starts chasing you down the halls. And then definitely here, there's a few good jump scares if that's your thing. It's not really mine.
No, but I think the whole dream thing in this one worked very well. In the fact that it's been led up to, you have it. It's not like one of the dream sequences in, say, like the Arkham games, where it's just kind of shoved in there to do creepy, weird visuals.
Right.
This actually feels like it fits within the story. I mean, I know in Arkham they tried to make it fit, but it just feels kind of forced in. Whereas this, after that horrible story, you would expect to have a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so you kind of, it's like, am I awake? Am I dreaming? But yeah, the rat is basically chasing you around the bedroom. You crawl into the bed, and then he like jump scares you like by getting into the bed and trying to grab you. You're running for a door that seems to be just moving away from you. The rat's, and then basically at the end of the game, the rat is right behind you, and then I think it just fades out. I think it just like boom. And then we get the end credits, basically. And the end credits are, there's a rat in a cage. I think it looks like in the garage. And you can see like the kind of like the garden. And it's just this big rat. And obviously this kid is terrified of this rat. And this whole thing is just all been in his mind. That it's a game about irrational childhood fears. And it's awesome. But...
Well, okay, I was just about to ask what was your overall opinion, but I think that we've got it now.
Yeah, no, I really like this. I thought I was in for a bit of trouble, especially when it was so buggy, and it was controls were just that first ball collecting scene was really bad. I thought it was going to be something really bad, but yeah, it's not ideal, but the rest of the game makes up for it. But I do think it's a bit overpriced.
So would you... Well, you can't recommend it to me because I've already played it. Would you recommend it to our listeners?
Definitely. Yeah. I'd say, I wouldn't, that's up to you. You pay whatever you feel it would be worth, but
it's about 40 minutes to play, and it's independent, so you're not getting top quality graphics, if that's what you're in for.
Definitely not getting. But I mean, if you want some nostalgia, if you were a kid in the UK in the 80s, this is definitely something that you might be interested in.
I think this is often a game that, if you're going to find it, will probably be bundled in something like an Indie Gala or Fanatical or Itch.
Right. And if you did pick up that massive bundle and you just are paralyzed with choice what to play, look up Bonbon in the search and, give it a go. Just sitting there waiting for you to play it.
And then do you think you'll play it again?
Well, I had to go back and play it again because we have a rule, 1 hour. So I did go back and play it again.
So you started over and you played the ball part again?
Yeah.
Were you able to finish this time knowing what you had to do and not watching the TV twice? And
I didn't watch the TV again. I think I maybe only watched it once. But I did work. I was like a whiz with those balls by the end. Like you could like basically pick them up and just like lobbing them and then run towards them. Pick them up as they're rolling, like they hit off something, roll back towards you, pick it up while you're running and throw it again. But yeah, I wanted to see if there was like creative ways that you could die or something like that. If there was any like maybe Easter eggs. It's not that kind of game. There's nothing really, anything else. It's just like a one-off short kind of horror experience.
What 3 tags would you give this one?
Well, horror. I guess it is a horror game, even if it doesn't seem like that at first. Horror, first-person indie. Yeah, it's a first-person indie horror game. Yeah, why not?
Okay, good. And the big question?
Mm-hmm.
Buyer's remorse or buyer's confirmation?
Definitely confirmation.
Buyer's confirmation.